Welcome back, dear students. How are you all? Hope you all are fine. Students, do you remember our previous English class? Yes, in the previous class, we discussed the activities based on the lesson The Champ. Am I right? Did you write the homeworks? Okay, very good. So today we will move on to the next lesson. Are you all ready? Okay, so let's start. All of you take your English text and take page number 152. What's the title of the lesson? Yes, very good. A glass of milk is the title of the lesson. Students, now all of you go through the sentences given just below the title. Has any stranger ever approached you for help? How did you treat him or her? Here you find a young woman's experience when a stranger approaches her for some water. Students, a glass of milk is a short story which reminds us that every good deed that we do makes our life worthier and more meaningful. Students, now all of you read this short story very well and identify the difficult words. Hope you all read the text. Am I right? Now I'll give you a model reading. All of you listen attentively. One day, a poor boy was selling goods from door to door to pay his way through school. It was a hot day and he felt tired and hungry. He had only one thin dime left with him. He decided not to ask for a meal at the next house. However, he lost his nerve when a lovely young woman opened the door. Instead of a meal, he asked for some water. She thought he looked hungry and so brought him a large glass of milk. He drank it slowly and then asked, "How much do I owe you?" "You don't owe anything," she replied. "Mother has taught us never to accept pay for acts of kindness," he said. "Then I thank you from my heart." As Howard Kelly left the house, he not only felt stronger physically, but his faith in God and man was also strengthened. He had decided to give up and quit. Years later, that woman became old and critically ill with an unknown disease. The local doctors were baffled. They finally sent her to the big city where they called in specialists to study her rare disease. Dr. Howard Kelly was called in for the consultation. When he realized her and the town she came from, a strange light filled his eyes. Immediately he rose and went down the hall of the hospital to her room. Dressed in his doctor's gown, he went in to see her. He recognized her at once. He went back to the consultation room determined to do his best to save her life. From that day, he gave special attention to the case. After a long struggle, the battle was won. Dr. Kelly requested the business office to pass the bill to him for approval. He looked at it, then wrote something on it and the bill was sent to her room. She feared to open it, for she was sure it would take the rest of her life to pay for it all. Finally, she looked at it and something caught her attention on the side of the bill. She read the words, "Paid in full with 1 glass of milk." Signature, Dr. Howard Kelly. Tears of joy flooded her eyes as her happy heart prayed. Thank you, God, that your love is shed abroad through our hearts and hands. Students, did you identify the difficult words? Okay, now let's discuss those words and their meanings. Dime means a coin of the US. Meal, food. Faith, trust. Ill means feeling unwell. Baffle, to be too difficult to understand. Specialist, a person who concentrates on a particular subject. Consultation, the action or process of consulting or discussing. Recognize means identify. Approval, acceptance. flooded, overfilled. Students, hope you all understood the meanings of the difficult words. Am I right? Now I'll give you the explanation of this short story. All of you listen carefully. The story told about a poor boy who was selling goods from door to door to pay his way through school. He hasn't enough money to buy some food. He was very hungry. He decided to ask for a meal at the next house. However, he lost his nerve when a lovely young woman opened the door. Instead of a meal, he asked for some water. But she understood that he was so hungry, so she brought him a large glass of milk. Years later, that young woman became critically ill, but the local doctors couldn't identify her problem. They finally sent her to the big city where they called in specialists to study her rare disease. Dr. Howard Kelly was called in for consultation. When the doctor came to care the patient, he felt that he had ever known the woman. Immediately, he went to her room. He requested the business office to pass the final bill to him for approval. He looked at it, then wrote something on the edge, and the bill was sent to her room. Then a nurse came to the woman. She feared to open it. She was sure that she had not enough money to pay the bill. She began to read the following words: paid in full with 1 glass of milk. Then signed Dr. Howard Kelly. She was very happy. She didn't think that someone which was helped by her long time ago. He was still remembering to her. She believed that God would help the human in every moment. Students, hope you all understood the explanation. So, what's the moral of this lesson? Yes, every good deed that we do makes our life worthier and more meaningful. That's the moral of this short story. Students, did you enjoy the story? Yes, very good. Now, shall we move on to the activities based on this lesson? Okay, let's go. Now, all of you take page number 154. Read the first question. The events in the story, a glass of milk, are given in a jumbled order. Arrange them in a proper sequence. Students, the major events of the story are given here. It is given in a jumbled order, so you are asked to arrange them in a proper sequence. All of you try to do it yourself. It's a homework for you. Students, we completed the lesson, a glass of milk. What you have to do is read this short story very well and do the homework yourself. Thank you, dear children.